Hello and welcome to PondHub with Tim. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm making a new frog pond in our wildflower meadow. In order to make my pond, I've got a heavy-duty PVC pond liner, about 4 by 3 meters. I've got some underlay for the pond liner to protect it from sharp objects. I've got some small rocks which I'm going to be using for a pebble beach effect at the shallow end of the pond. I have some large rocks which I'm going to be using to weight down the edges of the pond, and I have a spade to dig the big hole. So the pond we're making today is primarily for frogs, and that's why we don't want to make it too big. Frogs will breed quite happily in fairly small ponds, and more importantly, the toads and the newts won't prefer those ponds when there are larger ponds available for them. The reason why this is good for frogs is that newts love frog spawn and they will eat it all up given half the chance. So the idea is that we have the frogs breeding in the small ponds, the newts and the toads breeding in the larger ponds. I've marked out the area and the size where I want my pond to be. I've just actually used some sticks stuck in the ground. I'm afraid it's just about digging. I was going to say I'm making this pond at the end of October, not because that's a good time of year to make a pond, it's actually not, but it's the best time of year in terms of disturbing the wildflower meadow. So we've kind of cut the meadow, we've raked, we've taken out some of the grass, and we're about to seed it. But before we do that, we're going to start digging the pond. As you can see, I am now the proud owner of a hole. You will notice that I've dug at different levels. Part of this middle section shelf here will eventually be a marsh, and that will be ready for planting. And you'll see up at this end where the beach is going to go, I've dug a bank. There's a hole there with a bank here. The idea of that is that will keep the stones in place and stop them rolling down into the pond. Now it's time to add the liners. So you can see what I've done now is I've taken an underlay, a pond underlay, I've roughly pushed it into the shape of my new pond, and I've trimmed the edges, leaving a fairly decent overlap at the edges. Now it's ready for the heavy duty liner. So what I've done now is I've put the thick PVC liner down, and this will provide the sort of waterproof membrane. Before I do anything else, before I kind of cut or change the size of this or lay out the edges, what I'm going to do is fill the pond with water. This is so that everything settles into the right place, and also just to make sure that there's no damage to the liner. So I'm just going to turn that on and let that fill up. I left the new pond for 24 hours to give it a good chance to settle. This ensures that there's no leaks. There's nothing worse than adding lots of features to a pond only to discover that it's leaking. I trimmed the liner, allowing a 25 centimetres or 10 inches border all the way around, and remembered to keep any offcuts because they can be useful for other projects. Now I'm adding my small rocks into the shallow end basin to create my pebble beach. pebble beach is important. It allows an easy sloping access for amphibians to get into and out of the pond. It also provides a drinking point for insects. Bees and the like can get between the stones, can drink water and don't end up falling in the water. So it's a great idea to have one. Now I've done the pebble beach at the shallow end of the pond, I'm going to take larger rocks and use that to weight down the line all around the edge and create a kind of natural rock pool effect. You can buy this gravel and you can buy this rocks. We don't have to, because depending on which way you look at it, we're either lucky or unlucky enough to be sitting on top of a very large glacial deposit. So every time we dig in the garden, we end up with lots of stones and rocks. We throw them on one side and then use them for lots of different projects. Now the other thing you'll see is that I just at the end there added in a couple of old mossy covered logs that we had lying around in the garden. The reason being is that I think every frog in the world is entitled to a mossy covered log to sit on from time to time, so it's for them, but it also looks quite nice. I'm nearly finished with my new meadow pond. I've just got a few more things to do. One thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a water lily, which was from the bottom pond, but it wasn't doing well where it was. And I'm just going to place that in the deepest part of the new pond. Ooh, so that goes in there, just like that. That's pretty dormant now, but hopefully it will come back in the spring. I'm also going to be adding some oxygenating pondweed and a bucket full of pond water from one of the other ponds. That's got some small ram's horn snails in and a little bit of insect life, so it's starting to get the life into the pond. The final thing to finish off the pond is I will build marsh down one side, but I'm going to be showing you how to build marshes in my next video.
Cool, blimey. That looks lovely, that does. Ooh, can't wait to get in there and have a little swimmy swim. Oh, yes.